This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
You know, call me crazy, but that announcer, he just seems so down to earth, doesn't he?
He really does.
Kind of like you guys at home. Welcome to the show. Glad you tuned in for another Farm Monitor. We think it's another good one as well.
Yes, indeed. And here's a little sample of what's coming up. Straight ahead, new management practices, marketing strategies, and vendors looking to help producers boost their profits. Just some of the highlights at this year's Pecan Growers Conference. Back in the day, it was a peach packing shed. Now it's packing in tourists from all over, offering everything from garden fresh fruits and vegetables to locally produced wine.
I'm sorry, did somebody say peaches? Well, I know just the place, and it served as the perfect backdrop for the latest edition of Meals from the Field. Get ready to chow down on some cobbler. All starts right now on the Farm Monitor. Public events, remember those? Well, hey, they're back. Case in point, the Georgia Pecan Growers Association's conference. The Monitor's John Holcomb was there and filed this report from Houston County.
For the first time in what feels like forever, the Georgia Pecan Growers Association got to hold its annual conference down in Perry recently. It's a time for growers to fellowship, see the latest equipment, and get updates about the industry, something that's very important, especially after more than a year of not having that option.
Just like anybody, producers and the growers in the state have been isolated just like everybody else, and actually even more so isolated than usual, I'd say. They're used to being able to get together and have fellowship and talk about production practices, talk about production issues that they're seeing each season, and they haven't been able to get together for a year and a half. So this has been pretty critical for both mental health and just the fellowship of the growers organization. And just how that affects each grower's production overall. I mean, it's really pretty critical.
McLeod says they were a bit worried about attendance, but they quickly realized producers and industry professionals were more than happy to get together.
It's been really well received to go ahead and open the doors back up and get together in person, much more so than we imagined, actually. So we always do a pre-registration before the conference, and this is actually not a very good time to host a conference for farmers. They're very busy right now, but regardless of the time frame, they were willing to come to it and get together, and our pre-registration numbers were excellent. It was as if we were hosting it in March again, and as if COVID didn't exist right now, just because everybody is that excited to get together.
Excited to get together, yes. Excited for this upcoming season, maybe not so much. According to Wells, this year isn't looking like it's going to be a good one for growers.
The pecan market that we're dealing with now is much less than what we were dealing with a few years ago when we had the market with China. And so the profitability of pecans is not what it was. And this year, the crop load on the trees is much less. Last year was a really big crop. We were 2 years coming off the hurricane. The trees really responded and came back. We had a really big crop last year. I think it was around 142 million pounds is the official estimate for Georgia. And we knew with that big of a crop, it was likely to be a little bit lighter crop this year, and that's indeed what we see.
Typically, when there's lower supply, prices tend to go up. But unfortunately, Wells says that's not the case this year.
It used to be that, when we had a big crop in Georgia, you could expect prices to be lower, and then when we had a short crop in Georgia like we had this year, prices would be higher. That used to be the case, but now the biggest thing kind of throwing a wrench in that is the nuts that are imported from Mexico. So there's a lot of nuts being imported from Mexico, and so shellers can kind of fill up a lot of the volume with that, and that is going to affect the price a little more.
However, all hope is not lost. According to Wells, U.S. demand for pecans continues to rise. Reporting in Perry for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Concerned, angry, betrayed, you name it, and the ag sector is feeling it after the EPA and Army Corps of Engineers collectively announced their intent to redefine the waters of the U.S. rule, specifically to repeal and replace the Navigable Waters Protection Rule. American Farm Bureau Federation said the intent to rewrite the rule is a blow to agriculture and is concerning. Don Parrish, AFBF Senior Director of Regulatory Relations, says there's a little bit of confusion about exactly what EPA is proposing, adding they're definitely saying they're going to repeal and replace. Parrish said the concern is returning to burdensome and unclear regulations.
When you start talking about ephemeral features that are ditches or even less than ditches, they only have water in them when it rains. All of a sudden, you're really kind of glossing over the fact that you're regulating land use as opposed to water. If that's their target, the whole issue of where water ends and land begins, there's a real question mark on the landscape. And it's going to create all kinds of issues. I don't know where this is going, but it is clearly going to be a really detailed and a really significant fight. And I need farmers and ranchers to understand that this is not a fight about protecting water quality, because the Navigable Waters Protection Rule does that. This is a fight over land use.
Whether you're shopping for garden fresh fruits and vegetables, locally produced wine, or anything in between, Fitzgerald Fruit Farms in Woodbury has what you're looking for.
Yeah, Damon Jones takes us out to Meriwether County for an up-close look at this unique first-generation farming operation.
With temperatures on the rise and kids out for summer break, family-friendly entertainment is now in high demand. And here at Fitzgerald Fruit Farm, there's a little something for everyone, as visitors can enjoy everything from ice cream to a glass of wine. It's a unique operation that was started by a couple that didn't really come from a farming background.
So my husband grew up summers during high school and coming home during summers during college to work on a local peach farm, and that's kind of where he got bit by the bug, I guess. Enjoyed that. It was a lot of hard work during those years, but he learned a lot, and during those years began to think that he might want to farm peaches.
What you see today with the country store and winery is dramatically different than what stood here just 5 years ago.
What it was when we began was an old peach packing shed, probably 40 years old, where the peaches were brought in each day. They were hand graded, hand packed. There was an open air market here, and unfortunately in December of 17 we were hit by a tornado, and that began the creation of what we have now.
That transformation, as well as a newly offered U-Pick operation, has really turned this into an agritourism destination, which allows them to share the important story of agriculture to the next generation.
We have many families that bring kids to pick strawberries, and from 18 months old up to 80 years old, we have people out picking. And I think for the older people, they enjoy showing the younger people kind of the hard work that it takes to grow produce. It's tough to make sure you meet all the regulations, and you definitely have to, you may have to change the way you do things a little bit, but it's so valuable to see how much people enjoy feeling a part of your farm when you open it up like that.
It's not just entertainment that Fitzgerald Fruit Farms has to offer, as you can also find fresh from the field produce, locally sourced meat, and other great Georgia products at the shed. While keeping everything local ensures freshness, it also helps sustain rural communities and those who live in them.
When you shop and support local farms, you're supporting local families and your local economy. We have a staff that is vital. We have a core group that's with us year-round, and when you're supporting our farm, you're supporting those families as well. And here we are definitely one big family. So when you come here, you are helping us to then help those families as well.
While it takes plenty of hard work to run both a farming and agritourism operation, it really is a labor of love for the owners, who love sharing the old-school rural lifestyle with visitors.
I love when people take a moment and sit on the porch in the rocking chair if you go out and talk to them, and they just say, this is so nice. It feels like we've stepped back in time 30 years. Definitely has the feel of an old summer Sunday in the South, sitting at grandmother's house on the porch in a rocking chair having a homemade ice cream. It's just so nice to see families together enjoying something that doesn't involve a device in a hand and, enjoying the outdoors.
Reporting from Meriwether County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
After the break, green beans and peaches, French bread and peaches. Believe it or not, they go great together. Kind of like Ray and Marcia. Meals from the Field when the Farm Monitor continues.
only the third time in the history of Meals from the Field we're on location. The first time at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We were also at Truist Park up in Atlanta. This time we are in Musella, Georgia, home of Dickey Farms, one of the oldest, if not, I do believe it is the oldest packing company in the state of Georgia.
Packing, yes.
Peach packing in the state of Georgia. Welcome to Dickey Farms. Thank you to everybody at Dickey Farms for allowing us to be here today. We're in what they call the Honey House.
The Honey House.
The Honey House, which is located right across the street from Dickey Farms. Great to be here, of course. Marsha, we're doing peaches this month.
With no mask.
With no mask, yes, Marsha and I fully vaccinated, doing well. Thank you very much. So we get to interact again, yada, yada, yada. Good to see you, Marsha.
Good to see you, Ray.
And I should mention, this was Marsha's idea. She said, let's do something different. Let's go on location at Dickey Farms, and we are here.
It's a great place.
It is an awesome place. Again, we cannot thank everybody enough for allowing us to be here. What do we have today?
Well, we have one really traditional, which I can't believe we've never done a straight up peach cobbler.
We did blueberry peach cobbler.
We've done every other kind of cobbler.
Okay.
But anyway, that's saved the best for last.
Right.
All right, this is a peach bruschetta. And a bruschetta is just a topping on top of French bread.
Okay.
So this is like 2 peaches, a quarter of a cup of red onion, or you could use Vidalia.
Okay.
Chopped fresh basil, like 3 tablespoons, and a half a cup of mozzarella cheese that's been chopped. And this is fresh mozzarella that you buy in a roll. Makes such a big difference. Then you're going to mix that. I got to find a place to put my stuff, with olive oil and balsamic vinegar, and you pour it over the top. Then you're going to spread it on this French toast that I've got right here, French bread. And you're gonna, this has been slightly browned a little bit. Then you're gonna put it back in the oven just until the cheese starts to melt. And I've made lots of bruschetta before, but this is really, really good and different and fresh with the peaches in there. And you just bake this till, like I said, till the cheese starts to melt, and it's a great appetizer.
Can we just stop now and just eat that?
Sure. You're not going to want to stop before you see the peach ice cream. I mean the peach cobbler. All right, this is a different recipe. Actually, my husband found this recipe.
Okay.
These are sugar snap peas, 8 ounces, which you buy in a bag. And you cut them in half, 1-inch pieces. You don't cook them, nothing. We're going to add to that some feta cheese, like a quarter of a cup. And you want to make this ahead of time so the flavors kind of marinate together. Fresh mint, which is excellent, really. The flavor of the fresh mint comes out. A half a cup to a cup of Georgia pecans that have been chopped. And a cup of Georgia peaches that have been chopped. And all of these items are using Georgia peaches. Obviously, since we're right across from a peach orchard.
A little convenient today, isn't it?
Yeah, real convenient. And then you're going to put on that, this is balsamic vinegar, olive oil, and the juice and zest of a lemon.
Okay.
And some cayenne pepper. And like I said, you want to refrigerate this overnight. It's good, but it's good if we've eaten it several days afterwards. And it holds up really well, and it's great. Okay, here you go.
All right.
The best part. A straight up traditional peach cobbler, and you call this impossible peach cobbler because it's pretty impossible to mess it up.
Okay.
Although I have had a call that somebody messed it up, I didn't really even want to say, okay, you don't need to be cooking.
I thought you were going to go and say that it's not real peaches, you know, with this impossible craze that's going on in the country now with
it's
the
real
Impossible
peaches.
Burger. So these are real peaches.
Right. All right. This is a half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of sugar,
Okay.
and you can increase that to a cup if you really like sugar. A cup of self-rising flour. You're going to add to that a cup of milk. Stir that up pretty good, and I've already got in this baking dish a half a cup, which is a stick of melted butter. All right. You're going to pour that over the butter.
Look at it frothing up.
It could have been stirred up a little better, but in the essence of time. All right, this is the impossible part. You pour the peaches on top of this mixture. Do not stir it. That's what people want to do. They want to stir it. So this is 4 cups of sliced Georgia peaches. You're going to bake this. This crust is going to rise to the top, obviously. Bake this at 350 for 40 minutes. And you have a peach cobbler, and I'm telling you, it's delicious. And so simple. Serve it with ice cream, whipped cream, whatever, you can't go wrong. And I'm not stirring, I'm just spreading the peaches.
And since we're here, we should go ahead and mention how Dickey Farms and their peach ice cream.
It's the best.
It's just, you talk about impossible. Oh my gosh, it is impossible just to have one bite of that stuff.
It is so good.
And that's it. And
That's
is your
it. You
peach
bake it.
cobbler, and you peach it like that, and you bake it like that. Peachy King, I guess. But no, that's awesome. And of course, folks, you can find all these recipes by going on to farm-monitor.com. We try to get those up in a timely manner. Let me tell you, Marcia, when we don't get them up there in a timely manner, we get emails. People love you. They love your recipes.
They love the recipes.
So I promise you, these will be up there after you get done watching this episode. They will be up there. I will guarantee that. So, but again, huge thanks to Dickey Farms for allowing us to come to you today from the Honey House. Everybody is just so fantastic. Marcia, you of course are fantastic. Thank you so much. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Good to see your face again.
Yeah, I know.
And we will see you next month.
Sophisticated science and DNA technology are shaping progress in the U.S. dairy industry today. Genomic testing has come a long way since its humble beginnings more than a decade ago, says Eric Olstead of Zoetis.
It's really been tested in the marketplace, and it's really kind of shown itself to be an effective tool. The early adopters have seen that, so now as it's spreading more through the industry, we're seeing more adaptation from clients regardless of herd size that really want to get more precision like in their female breeding program and what genetic progress they're making.
When margins are tight, each and every cow makes a difference in overall herd productivity and profitability. Animal health, wellness, and longevity are key, Olstead says.
You have X amount of room on your farm, whether it's 100 cows or 10,000 cows. So what kind of cow are you going to milk, and what's the age of your cow? And so we can certainly get more milk out of cows that are second calf and third calf. And so how do we look at the makeup of that herd, not just genetically, but from a life cycle? And can we harvest more pounds of milk per stall or per animal unit because we can now have an older cow that is also disease resistant?
How can dairy producers achieve these goals? By using the Clarified Plus genetic test from Zoetis and the related Dairy Wellness Profit Index. Together, they chart a course for healthier, more productive animals.
To say, what's your average calf born in 2020 as compared to 2019, as compared to 2018? And we can see that genetic progress. And those that have adapted this technology are really, in some cases, almost doubling that of their pure dairies.
A more precise look into cow health has benefits beyond the farm as well.
I think these wellness traits in certain places have been game changers. And I think really if we think about as dairy producers, we need to make a product that the consumer wants, whether they're eating a pound of cheese or drinking a gallon of milk. They want products that come from healthy, sustainable cows. And I think that this Clarified Plus platform really allows us to give the consumer what they're looking for.
To learn more, visit dairywellness.com. For Holstein Association USA, I'm Miles Ramsey.
Finally this week, did you know none of Georgia's 32 frog species actually ribbit?
So what do Georgia's frogs actually say? Here's Outreach Coordinator Linda May from Georgia DNR's Wildlife Resources Division.
Frog number 1, American bullfrog. The American bullfrog is the largest frog species in all of North America, reaching up to 8 inches long. This highly aquatic frog has webbed feet that act like flippers. Despite the bullfrog's large size, you may not be able to see it in the dark. So listen for its loud, low-pitched bellowing call. Some people say it sounds like jogarum. Frog number 2, Cope's gray tree frog. The Cope's gray tree frog is relatively chunky and can change color depending on its environment and activity level. Its granular skin holds in moisture, allowing it to spend time away from the water. Like other tree frogs, this species has circular toe pads that act like suction cups on tree branches, garbage cans, and windows. Cope's gray tree frogs are fairly tolerant of pollution, so they can live in a variety of habitats. If you hear a loud trilling belch, it could be from your neighbor, or it could be from a Cope's gray tree frog. Frog number 3, Eastern narrowmouth toad. The Eastern narrowmouth toad is a small, somewhat flattened frog with a pointed snout. An extra fold of skin on this frog's head extends to protect its eyes while eating ants. Despite its small stature, the Eastern narrowmouth toad has a really loud call. It's a long, piercing, nasally whine. Frog number 4, green frog. The green frog looks similar to the American bullfrog, but is smaller and has well-defined ridge lines down the sides of its back. This highly aquatic frog has webbed feet and is a different species than our state amphibian, the green tree frog. Also known as the bronze frog in South Georgia, this species varies in color. Although identification by sight might be challenging, you'll know this frog is around when you hear its banjo-plucking call. Frog number 5, cricket frog. Georgia is home to 2 species of cricket frogs, the northern and the southern. Cricket frogs are warty and very small, only about as big as your thumbnail. Although they vary in color, you can often identify them by a small triangular marking on the top of their head. Both species sound like marbles tapping together, although the northern cricket frog's taps are slightly more rapid. You've probably heard them calling from clumps of grass around ponds, but thought they were insects. Knowing your frog calls makes spending time outdoors all the more enjoyable, and could even help with collecting scientific data. To learn more about Georgia's frogs, please visit georgiawildlife.com. Thanks for watching and for helping to keep Georgia wild.
All right, time for us to hop on out of here. Linda, thank you so much, and thank you for watching.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Hope you have a great week.